welcome to the Boiler Room, everybody. How you doing out there? I'm your host. My call sign is Hesher. Thank you for joining us for tonight's Boiler Room. It is August the 25th, and it's 2022. We're broadcasting live out of alternatecurrentradio.com, Spreaker.com, YouTube.com, and Rockfin. What is going on out there tonight, everybody? Thank you for joining us. Please check us out on the web, alternatecurrentradio.com. And welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's great to see everyone. Thank you for joining us. What can I say? We've been very busy around here. My goodness, I'm doing 5 days a week over at TNT, Monday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. Central and going to 1 p.m. Central. So check me out over there if you haven't yet. Had some really interesting guests over there, and some familiar faces and names for those of you that listen to the Boiler Room. And let's just crack right into the green room tonight and say hello to everybody. Let's start with my neighbor over here, Chopper. What's going on, man? Welcome back to the Boiler Room.
What up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, it's great to see you tonight. Great to see you. How's it going out there in Arizona?
It's good, dude. It's been a mild, pretty wet summer actually for here in the desert, so it's cool.
All right, cool. Well, welcome to the show. Looking forward to getting into it with you.
Yeah, likewise, dude.
All right.
I heard a rumor about what we were gonna talk about, but
oh yeah, I know. Ooh, could be interesting. Okay,
wet summer fits pretty well.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be an even wetter summer in a moment. All right, down here we've got the one and only, the very Infidel Pharaoh. What's going on, Infidel Pharaoh? How you doing? Welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you back.
Doing good, man. Glad to be back. I missed you guys the last couple of weeks and missed our listeners.
Hey, we missed you too, man, and we're glad you're here today. Very glad you're here today. Look forward to see what we can get into over here on the interwebs. And okay, let's say hello to. Did I do it right? Nope. To this way. We've got the one and only, the Mr. Ruckus, the Ruckus among us, the man behind the Daily Ruckus. What's going on, man? How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Howdy. So I think we're kind of setting up the listeners for something, so they're probably all anxiously awaiting for us to dive right in. So thanks for having me, and why don't we do just that, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. That leads us to the one and only. She's in every direction because she's all over the interwebs over here. Very lovely Spore, curator of all things Whiskey Tango Foxtrot on the interwebs. What's up? How you doing? Welcome to the Boiler Room. Try that one more time there. Oh, I don't know why you're muted, though. You're like muted on the Discord.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Good to be with you guys.
There we go. Now we hear you. Okay, cool. Yeah, great to be with you, Spore. Welcome to the show. So I'm sure we're going to have something odd and interesting to start the show with tonight. What kind of internet oddity icebreaker did you come across this week?
Again, there are so many to choose from. And this was actually in there last week before Boiler Room, and it's just like stuck out in my head because I don't know, it sticks out for some reason. This one's from Ruckus, actually, and it's from the New York Post. The title is Designer Vagina. Surgery doubles in 2022 for one surgeon thanks to tight leggings.
Tight leggings? What could that possibly have to do with designer vagina? What even is a designer vagina? What are we talking about here? Maybe I don't know. This is weird.
Okay, well, I first of all, I want to discuss the fact that like tight leggings became very, very trendy, and not in like in a sexy sort of way back in like around like 2014, where it was like, okay, these pants stretch, let's put them on everybody, you know. And it's like, oh, well, we're going to yoga, or we're, you know, going to the bagel shop or whatever, like we got stretchy pants on, right? So that became very trendy back then. And I think we were just like, I think we've actually talked about it in Boiler Room back then, like where it was just like everybody's wearing black stretch pants because they're comfortable and they cover things and stuff like that. Well, over the years, I've noticed that the stretch pants have become much more trendy, and they're different materials now, and they show more, and they're much more higher waisted sometimes, and you can see more things than with the old school 2014 black stretch pants. And apparently from this article, especially with all these women that have grown up like watching the internet porn and all the media and stuff like that, they're comparing their vaginas to other vaginas and stuff like that. And then they're also like going out in public and kind of like wearing these leggings that are showing kind of everything.
We're talking camel toe here, huh? Is that what this is all about? So camel toe somehow leading to surgery? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's really bizarre and sad. It's really sad that people are willing to like, chop up their body parts because of whatever they're seeing out there, and they think they need to fit into that, category or whatever. Like, but it's also like, can you just like buy a different pants instead of cutting off your body parts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should definitely do surgical procedures on ourselves to match the clothing that we want to wear. That makes complete sense. So yeah, should definitely surgically alter the genitals to match the trendy clothing of the day. I don't know. This is really weird. I did notice there is a term for this kind of
Gyneoplasty?
well, yeah, there is that. They actually, I think they call it a labiaplasty. It looks like they call that in the article here. This guy, this Dr. John Skivofiliacs, chief surgeon.
Celiac.
Yeah. Okay.
Labiaplasties, right?
Yeah, he said he performed 50 labiaplasties just this month here, or just this year. Sorry, just this year alone. So women are flocking to purchase a designer vagina after ultralight leggings have become uncomfortable or embarrassing thanks to the dreaded camel toe. This is ridiculous. Are we really to believe that someone's going to go spend $4,000 to have their labia shrunk so that they can wear their stretch pants, their athleisure wear?
Yeah, Dr. Richard Swift told the Post that the ubiquitous activewear plays a big part in the uptick of labiaplasties. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous that they are blaming pants for this. These women choose to wear pants. Whatever pants they choose to wear, but like if you feel like your crotch is being shown off too much, then
Well,
maybe get a different pair of pants.
well, it seems to me that like sometimes this is a fashion decision that's done on purpose. Like
Oh yeah.
some people, that aesthetic might be what they're going for. Like, hey, I just painted my clothing on. What do you think about the way my parts are all shaped? I do get that vibe from some people, but overall, yeah, it can be just a little bit lazy looking sometimes. But one of the quotes in here says, exercise clothing is a little bit tighter and it's form fitting, so it does put pressure on the area. People experience pain, discomfort, and chafing. So that's a little bit weird. If you're experiencing pain, discomfort, and chafing, like Spore said, maybe just try a new pair of pants. I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. Let's not alter our bodies just to match fashion. I don't know. I tend to think there's something deeper going on here. Like they really are selling this for other aesthetic reasons than the yoga pants. This seems like clickbait to me. I don't know. What do you think, Ruckus? Over to you.
Makes perfect sense. Excuse me. Well, the reason they wear the tight stretch pants is to show off their badonkadonk. So they got a lot of junk in the trunk and they want to show it off and accentuate that as well as the legs. But they don't want a lot of junk up front. So you got to shave some off a little bit, tuck it in, keep it under wraps there, So that's what this is about. But it's interesting that they brought up the chafing and everything. I'm with you guys. Like, this is absolutely spoiled, ridiculous behavior that something is making you uncomfortable, so you're going to modify your body to get over your discomfort or your feelings, as it were, about something. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? So, I think I'm not surprised. This is just another symptom of the sickness that's gripping our society. I mean, look at this. They turn to a medical procedure to solve a problem. There's a lot of that going on these days, and I think it's time we back off on all of that. But I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, an unnecessary medical procedure. I mean, Infidel Pharaoh, you could just get some Johnson and Johnson talcum powder, and oh wait, no, you can't. That might actually give you cancer. Never mind. I guess you do have to get different pants. What do you think, man?
Well, I must say, I love camel toes, so this is for me is a disgrace. Like, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I enjoy them, and that is really sad. As a guy, I protest. I have a big problems. So I have a solution for you if you did that procedure and now you have regrets. Steal the screen for a second.
Oh, all right. What do we got here? Let me add that to the stream. What do we got there, Infidel?
We can't hear him.
I'm not hearing you, man.
What?
Oh. All right. Can you hear or no?
Yeah, what was that?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to play again.
No,
Oh,
negative.
no, we can't hear. We can just see.
Yeah, no audio coming through.
I want to see it no more. Come on now.
All right. Hashar, I'm going to post that video if you don't mind play it.
All right. Yeah. Send me the link, man. I'll play it for you.
I'm going to put it in the private chat here.
Okay.
We were just watching this new show that I don't know if it's new or not. It's this comedian. I can't remember his name. And him and his wife, all they do is talk about sex stuff. And they had Tommy Lee on there and his, I think, current wife. And, like all this talk about like Tommy Lee and how like big his dick is and stuff like that. There's been this horrible movie made on Netflix about him. Has anybody on the show heard this or seen this movie or heard about it?
It's a TV show. It's not a movie.
Okay, it's a TV show. It's horrific. I don't think we even finished it because it was so crass.
Horrific's giving it too much credit. It's just boring. But yeah, totally.
It's cringy and boring. There you go.
Yeah, very cringy. All right, I got that up here. Infidel, stand by. Let's see what Infidel was trying to share with us over here. Hopefully this goes well.
They say showing your toes isn't ladylike, but if you don't show your toes, how are they going to know you're a lady? Introducing camel shows. The camel toe enhancing insert that fits straight into your pants.
I was embarrassed by my camel toe. It was so small, flat. It's like it wasn't even there.
But not anymore. Choose from many unique models, including Hidden Valley, the Flying V, Catcher's Mitt, Panty Gobbler, Puppy Taco, Denim Bagel, Lobster Claw, and last but not least, Puppet Mouth. So if you're sick of stuffing your bike shorts with pizza dough, grab camel shows and
show them your toes.
They say.
All right, that's a good one, Infidel. That's a good one.
Yeah, I guess it's a fashion thing, right?
That was a joke.
It is a joke. It is a joke,
Yeah.
but the whole thing is a joke, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
but people are affected by it. So like my point with the Tommy Lee thing, when he was in this interview with his current lady and talking to these comedians, they were talking about like, like how much I don't know, attention Tommy Lee's dick has gotten over the years. And then they started talking about his current ladies. And she was like, I was about ready to do that. She was basically saying that like her vagina was too big and she was about ready to get surgery to like have it look like whatever she sees in porn or whatever. And Tommy was like, no, I like it all. Like, don't chop yourself up. But like, this is like really like something that chicks are dealing with, where they're like, oh, mine doesn't look like whatever I see on this 24/7 365 porn, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. It used to be like back in my day when I was a kid, Chopper, the big question for the ladies was, do I trim my bush or not? And now it's just like that's out the door. Nobody cares about that. Now it's, do I trim my lips off, I guess? I don't
You
know.
just go straight to trim. Yeah, that's crazy.
Now I know
To
people that
us-
are trimming their breasts off. You know, I mean, we you know, it's like, what are people doing? Like, they're just detaching themselves from like what they are actually physically attached to completely for some sort of like ideal that's never reachable.
yeah.
Well-
Well, the idea that so you're uncomfortable wearing these pants, so you're gonna cut part of your body off. I mean, seems like it might even hurt more than the pants, and or yeah, get some different pants. I
Mhm.
mean, just common sense. Holy shit.
It goes back to that like instant gratification that the entire society is living in right now. Like you make a decision right in the moment. This is what I'm feeling. Today I'm feeling like a female. I'm gonna do like a gender reassignment surgery, and after a few months you're gonna start regretting it.
Yeah,
Same,
well,
like,
these chicks are gonna regret it when big camel toes come back in.
when it's back when it exactly, man. Because you know what, guys like big camel toes. I'm sorry, ladies.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, when the interwebs was still new, there was this website, I think it was literally like called cameltoe.com.
I know. I used to go there, man.
Yeah, my buddy showed it to me. It was like, damn, these chicks are hot. Nice.
Seriously though, I mean, what about guys now when they start wearing tight jeans? Are they gonna cut their balls off, or what's next?
We need the moose knuckleoplasty.
Their girl jeans are pinching their junk, so they better chop it off, I guess.
No, it's really crazy, man. It's seriously, it's just mental illness that's going on right now. Of you make a decision at the moment. It's so easy right now with plastic surgeries. You just go and do something, and then few month or whatever, a year later, and you're gonna regret it, and you're gonna go do what, like Botox injection to put it back in. It's just crazy. But this is what we're living in right now. Everybody is just with that internet, and you're looking at everybody else. This is how I want to look like, and it's so easy now to go and change whatever. And you mentioned something sport, like with porn, right? It's all those people that females or even males. It just, you're seeing so much out there right now, and everybody's just not satisfied with what they have, because right in front of you you have everything nowadays, and no one is happy with what they have. They just want something else, because deep inside, it just, people are empty now, and it just is superficial, whatever it is that give them that instant gratification without going back and looking deep inside. It's like, what really makes me happy as a person? It's not how I look, it's not how I it's not how society look at me, but me as a person, how I feel deep inside. What is my moral framework, and what is my framework that I can look deep inside, and it makes me happy as a person. And I think a lot of people are missing this right now. You get it, but yeah.
And they've been trained to. I mean, I feel like, okay, so I'm 44 now. I'm like feeling a little bit like fuddy duddy. So I did not get raised like watching anything on the internet. I didn't really get into the internet until I was like in my early 20s. And Hesh explains to me sometimes, and I've never really dived into it like other people have. Like, I didn't get it, and I wasn't like, I just was doing other things in my life than focusing on my computer. The only thing that me and my computer had to do with each other was music for like the first 10 years I had one. And I've not seen a lot of what like people that You know, when I think of like my nieces and nephews that, you know, they're in their teens still and early 20s, like I cannot even imagine growing up and seeing all that stuff because everything was so confusing at that time, you know, through puberty and early 20s and stuff like that. I cannot even imagine like having the bombardment of what people are exposed to when they have, you know, their smartphone and their computer, or, you know, like it's just I just feel compassion for the youth these days because I mean, I can't judge somebody if she's, you know, some girl's feeling like her, you know, vagina's too big for her pants or whatever and she needs to go get surgery. Like I mean, I don't know what she's experienced. Like, who knows? She could have all sorts of weird shit, like where she's going to these parties where like all these women are like spreading their leg open and like being like, oh, we all got to be comfortable doing this around each other, like what they do out in San Francisco and stuff. Like, oh, we all got to look at it, you know, and or touch it this way. Or, I mean, there's weird shit going on right now, and people are, I think, a little bit messed up because of it.
Well, if that's what's happening in your life, young lady, you need a stronger father figure. You need to talk to your mom or something. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, I hear you, Spore. It is. And the imagery, it's just the flood of imagery. We don't even know what that's doing to so many people. I mean, we have ideas. You can watch some of those documentaries about social media and how it affects young people, and you'll see that young women are the ones that are affected by it the most, the worst, you know. And it's like, I think we all knew that was already happening before the age of the internet, where it was just Hollywood VHS tapes and freaking Cosmo magazine that was making women feel less than, you know. But this has just gone plaid. This has just gone hyperspeed, and somehow I feel like this is basically a commercial for
Mhm.
some ghoul selling labiaplasties, you know. And it's like,
That
maybe
was
there's
the feeling I got from that article. That's what I was gonna say next. Is that whole article is read like a commercial, and then they put like a bunch of pictures of the Kardashians and shit and talk about them, but they don't actually say they had that surgery. But obviously, they're posters for plastic surgery. So yeah, it
yeah.
seemed like a commercial to me, kind of.
No, for sure. These plastic surgeons are making a buck off of it, and that article is just another one that's going to keep putting money in their pockets. Like, oh, the Kardashians were saying that their leggings were too tight on their crotch. Okay, like what kind of leggings do you have? Like, I'm sorry, leggings are not like that's not what leggings do.
How could you be that dumb and have that much money to waste too?
Yeah.
Just
Aren't
saying.
leggings the whole point of leggings so that like you don't get pinched, you don't get chafed? Like that's the whole reason they are the way that
They're
they are.
stretchy. They conform to your body type.
Conform.
That's why the majority of the female population uses them from summer through winter, indoors and outdoors, to the grocery store, to the gas station, because they just keep, you know, they go whatever way your body goes. If you got a problem with your crotch and your leggings, you might have a problem with your leggings, really. Like, just saying.
Surgery may
The
not be the answer.
outrage, though, because a lot of this sounds like body shaming to me. So I think that there should be some sort of lobbying or some sort of social justice warrior action taken against the makers of these leggings, because clearly that's the problem.
Ooh.
There you
They're
go.
they're otherizing the
And I
ladies
mean,
with
look at the outrage over like the shape and the way a Barbie doll looks like, right? They want to go ahead and attack the doll, an inanimate object. So why not attack the article of clothing, another inanimate object?
It's an interesting dichotomy you bring up there, because actually when you do that procedure, you end up looking more like the Barbie doll, don't you? I thought we were supposed to rage against trying to all look like the Barbie doll.
Why are you trying to bring logic into this conversation?
I don't even know how we could even attempt to do that.
I just want an Arby's roast beef sandwich right now. That's all I know.
Oh,
Oh,
you know you do. You know you do, infidel.
With the extra sauce or what?
Yeah.
We
No,
know
if you
what
guys really want to see the amount of mental illness, there is a show called Botched. Go watch it, and you'll see the amount of actually body alteration that people do, especially with just really like high end plastic surgeons. It's crazy. Um, it's actually nothing new, but it's very interesting and disturbing show.
Oh boy, I've seen the tile for it. I've never clicked on it though. I was thinking I'll have to check that out. What actually happens though? Because the other thing they do with these kind of puff pieces, right? It's I mean, let's face it, it's most likely an ad, basically. I think it's an ad. But I was wondering, like, okay, what's the reality here? Because we throw around a lot of terms very flippantly, they like to use the puberty blocker one. They're like, oh, if the kids need to be put on puberty blockers while they decide whether they're going to be a dump truck or a boy or a girl or a sunflower or whatever. Just put them on the puberty blockers. So, and I think we've looked into this on the show before. You look into what those actually are. There's one popular one called Lupron, I believe, and it's actually a cancer drug. It's like a off-market chemo sort of pill for I think it's mostly used for colorectal cancer or something like that. I can't remember for sure. I talked about it on my TNT show earlier this week or late last week, and it's pretty insane the amount of side effects that this stuff has, like osteoporosis. I mean, it causes all this like degenerative stuff to happen within the body, bones and joints in particular. Sometimes puts people in very bad situations when it comes to dealing with the side effects, and it's was never really approved to be a puberty blocker or anything like that. So, but I was wondering, like, what happens with these labioplasties? What's the risk factor here? Just considering people are using it for a fashion statement of some sort, altering your genitalia for a fashion statement. Okay, discomfort at the surgical site is common. While temporary pain is a common side effect after surgery, ongoing labial discomfort that persists beyond the usual healing period is rare, but that healing period is 6 to 8 weeks. So you've got discomfort during urination, you've got swelling, you've got sensitivity that lasts 6 to 8 weeks, risk of infection, excessively red swollen tissue, fatigue, fevers, and that kind of stuff. So it's weird that they just talk about these things like, oh, it's no big deal to just go do this. You just drop $4,000 on it and it's all good. But
Well, okay, so I want to ask you, gentlemen, what's the advantage? Like, I mean, I've never heard a girl been rejected and saying, like, some dude being like, "Oh, your vagina's too big." Like, I've never heard that. Like, I've never heard a guy say your vagina's too small or your vagina's too big or anything like that. Why would, like, if there's any logic to this, I don't think it's like preventing cancer or anything. Why would any girl go out there and cut off her pieces, her little pussy or big pussy or whatever it is, because of how it looks in a yoga pant? Like, this is like, it's so beyond me. Like, because this is not like medical. Like, this is about,
it's aesthetic.
yeah, which is, when we were talking about this earlier, Hasher, when I was growing up in the 90s as a teen, like, there's a lot of stuff you see on TV or MTV and stuff. Like, there's all these hot chicks, like, they look really fit and stuff like that. And it's like, I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be super fit and looking fit, thin and muscular and stuff like that. And of course, I wanted big boobs. Everybody wants big boobs if they're a female, at least, as far as I know. But that was like all mostly like kind of like geared towards like a healthy look. And it was also at the same time we were being taught to not like worry about our bodies and compare ourselves to these type of people. Like that was part of the schooling, at least in my area and stuff. Is like, don't compare yourself to models, that don't do that. And now it's like gone so extreme that people are comparing themselves to everything on the internet and, cutting their breasts off and cutting their pussies off and cutting their sometimes dicks off. Like it's gone beyond, it's gone opposite from like, let's just like not be so concerned about how we look and be concerned about like how we think, to the complete opposite.
It's Fight Club. Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt's character, when he was going on the rant, telling people about identifying as their stuff. You know what I mean? And he was like, "You are not your fucking khakis. We gotta update that, folks. You are not your fucking vagina. You are not your fucking vaccine. Fill in the blank." But I think that's very prevalent and to where we're at today. That's a great rant. I need to revisit that movie.
Yeah, yeah, and it also has to do with just the utter just destruction of everything. It's like we used to tell you to be nice to everybody and to be nice to yourself, but now it's, we've traversed that. We've crossed that Rubicon, and now it's basically this Crowleyan do as thou wilt. And if you want to identify as this or that, go for it. If you want to identify as the person who's completely vapid and concerned about their look, and anyone can be a model. I mean, look at Tess, what's her face. So, you can be morbidly obese on the brink of death and look at yourself as a model, and it's okay to be obsessed with one or more of your body parts. It's all very transhuman when you look at it that way, because it's like a choose your own adventure or build your own Mr. Potato Head out of yourself, as long as you got the money and the neuroses to take you down those rabbit trails of, just self-loathing or self I don't know, delusions of grandeur that you can build yourself into something completely different than what you started as, with all this identification stuff and everything. And I don't know. I guess the end result is plastic surgeons make way more money than they ever did back in the day when it was just about big old titties.
Yeah, but
titties are passe, dude. Now you gotta trim your vagina to be cool. And honestly, I don't think I would even be attracted to a woman that was like, "Yo, I'll trim my vagina. I want to see." Like, or I mean, maybe they wouldn't say that, but what you get the point. Like, I don't think I could be attracted to the type of person that would be doing something like that, anyways. Just my thoughts on that.
That's the Tommy Lee principle, right there.
Yeah, that was what I was starting to mention earlier. Is that Tommy Lee had met this woman and fell for her, and she was like on the verge of getting the vaginoplasty or labioplasty or whatever. And she like described, she's like, I've got a really big vagina or something like that. Or like, like Infidel would describe like a roast beef sandwich, whatever. And Tommy Lee was like, he was like, fuck no. I love everything about it. Like he was like, you can't do this. Like he stopped her from doing the surgery. And
this was on a TV show. See, it almost sounds like a commercial too, in a way. See how they're pushing it?
But
okay.
It was like, I mean, it was basically him. She was like one of those people that felt like, she'd been seeing so many things that looked like one way and hers looked a different way. And she was on the verge of getting surgery for it. And he was just being like a man and being like, I fucking love your pussy. Don't fucking change it at all, or I'm going to fucking leave you, Sorry to be crass.
At least he was honest.
Yeah, and honestly, there is a surgeons should be able to warn the really patient for things like that. If I'm a surgeon, I should, and someone came to me to do something like this, I should question their motive to do something like that. Any surgeon taking an oath for such thing, for being a surgeon or a medical professional, they should be able to advise their patient not to do that. For example, like right now, there is a lot of data out there about the risks of breast implants. Even the FDA right now is actually putting warning labels on breast implants. So I have an article here in front of me of what are the health risks of breast implants. For example, like large cell lymphoma occurs in approximately 1 in 450 women with structured breast implants. Other risks such as capsular contractures 51%, infection 35.4%, rupture 31.2%, or need for reoperation is 59.7%. So all those are risks that it is not worth the gratification when you start looking at that. And as a surgeon, you should be able to talk to your patient and tell them what are your needs for such procedure. And you should be able to talk them out of it and provide your professional advice. And you should be able to make a decision. It's not just about making a cheap buck. It's about making what's right for that patient. And plastic surgery is important. Plastic surgery is actually, it is important, but it should not be overused in such manner. There are people that need breast augmentation, after like that undergo like breast removal because of cancer. So there are needs when people need such things, but it should not just be just purely for aesthetic. And you as a surgeon should be able to advise your patients to rethink such decisions.
I think a devil's advocate there is that a surgeon's job is actually to be able to execute surgery proficiently, and it's not to be able to psychologically analyze a patient and execute a surgery at the same time. So, I mean, as a surgeon, if I was one of those people, I would say that's not my job. But do I think I agree with you that there should be at least a system where you have somebody psychologically diagnosing and seeing if this is a proper decision, with the person that's actually going to do the procedure. I agree with you. There should be some sort of, decision made there that binds the mental and physical aspects of that decision.
Yeah, and I'm talking more from risks, right? Is a surgeon should be able to talk to their patient about the risk.
Well, it sounds like it's a lot of maintenance. So the surgeon's like, cool, I'm going to get to do this job 2-3 times, make more money. That just because they're not all going to think like you as far as like with some common sense or like, well, is this really right for this person or whatnot? And I don't know. And there's like more it is more medical type plastic surgeries, I'm sure, like you're saying, but I mean,
right. There's plenty of
let's
reasons.
get real. Some chicks like, hey, I want big boobs. That's not really medically necessary. Actually, I remember when I was in my youth driving around in my truck and two hotties in the truck and they're talking. I thought they're very attractive young women. And they're talking about how they both wanted bigger boobs and maybe they're going to get boob jobs someday, this, that. And I remember telling them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some dick surgery too, change my dick around, make it bigger. And they're like, that sounds stupid. I was like, yeah. And then they were like, they thought it was funny. They laughed and were like, yeah, I guess it does sound kind of dumb. I was like, hey, you guys are hot. Don't worry about it.
I mean, there are times where plastic surgery is important. I personally had plastic surgeries when I lost 180 pounds and I had like so much loose skin. And just from infection and things like that, there are times where you need something like that. But there are times when it's just purely aesthetic and it just doesn't make sense. So.
Right. And it's like the aesthetics have gone just way too like fine grain. You know what I mean? It used to just be like, I don't like my nose or, things that were, I don't know. But now we're just getting down to like, I don't like my little toe. I don't like the length of my taint. I mean, it's just like this weird encouragement of obsessive behavior. It's really creepy because there are plenty of reasons for people get their finger, get their ring stuck in a machine, get their finger almost pulled off, or car crashes or skin grafts. There's all kind of medical reasons for that stuff, but it's just this weird psychological shit to wrap it back around to this media article here. It's just this weird psychological trickery that they like to play with. And I would not be surprised if there is a pharma agency or a Hollywood PR agency or something more behind this, because I have a hard time believing it's just about this amazing doctor and the ability for the New York Post to throw the term camel toe out there and get weirdos like us to latch onto it and say it over and over again for 40 minutes.
Well, okay, on that note, I got one more point on that, though, too. Okay, check this out. So they're saying how it's all increased since the pandemic, right? Well, so has all kinds of other insane behavior, car
Yeah.
crashes, crimes, thefts, assaults, I was flipping through the interwebs earlier and saw a story on, I guess Fox put it out about, youth sports officials, like they can't, ever since the pandemic, there's been more assaults on them and people don't want to do it. They're having a shortage of people that want to do it. And I can't really blame them, but so just saying, it's like, okay, so it just goes in line with all this other crazy behavior that's on the rise ever since post 2020.
Right. Yeah, we're supposed to just think this is all part of the new normal. It's like, oh, this is just the normal progression of things, right? Actually, no, this is all very, very abnormal. All right, you guys ready to move on to something else here? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's see. Infidel, it's been a minute since you've been here. What's big on your radar, man? Talk to me. What have you been wishing you would have been here to talk about over the last couple of weeks, or what happened today that got you going?
I don't know, man. I'm just been observing and looking at the state of our union and see where we're going.
How are you feeling about the progression of this whole Mar-a-Lago thing and the use of the FBI this way?
Honestly, I feel it's a big distraction that's happening right now to just get everybody out of, thinking about the economy and thinking about the real problems and inflation. So they had to create some kind of buzz to get everybody riled up, and create more division coming that next election cycle. That's what it's all about. I think Trump will be fine. I'm not worried about that. And honestly, he's the one who I don't know. I think he causes more trouble than anything. I love to see him in office just to see his revenge, but honestly, he's not my top choice, I would say. But I think I think it just, we know that those Asian agencies have been, everybody lost faith in a lot of those agencies, and it's nothing new. But I think a lot of people are just waking up to the reality of where we are. I guess the illusion that we were living in, right? Everybody was living into that illusion that we are a free country, and realizing, oh no, we're actually not what they led us to believe that we are. But I think we shouldn't get riled up, and we should keep our focus on really the big problems. Because I already seen people started actually, before this whole thing happened, people were uniting on a common cause, which, economy and inflation and the state of our union. And now everybody again is riled up into this like binary fights, and that's what they want to keep fueling, is they want to keep fueling that fire to prevent you from looking at, from us as a nation uniting and really trying to get ourselves back on track. They did this in a time, right at the same time they passed this like crazy bill through the Congress, right? And he signed it into law. Biden signed it into law. Was the expansion of the hand of the IRS and all that trillions of dollars that are about getting ready to start printing. Um,
Oh yeah, the Inflation Reduction
the
Act,
Inflation Reduction Act, exactly, by printing more money and going after middle income, like entry level, high class people to suck them dry and continue that wealth transfer. They did not, nothing in that bill touched their big mega donors, which is the mega corporation and the billionaires. All what they are after are the people that are trying to make it and transition either from middle class to a higher class. They just want to keep you in one box, and they want to prevent people from moving between classes in the US. And US was one of the fewer nations that actually people were able to move between classes. You able to create a small business and you're able to move to, like to a higher class. But they want to prevent people from doing this. They did this during the COVID shutdowns with this big wealth transfer, and this is continuation of this. And it is just consolidation of power and consolidation of money into the hands of those mega corporations and the donors and the few that basically play behind the scene to and move those politicians who have in office right now. So it's it is sad, and it is sad to see people again losing sight. And I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing like already polls moving again in different directions, with all the media madness that's happening right now and bringing back up Trump and um, riling everybody to start going back out so that they can maintain power coming that next election. Um, so we'll see. We'll see if actually there was, if this awakening that we observed in the last year is actually was a true awakening, or it was just temporary, and that we're just going back into the same mindless fights, on honestly like um, non important issues, and leaving the big fight, um, and losing all. I think if we are not united, we have no chance of surviving.
Yeah, man. That kind of echoes some of the subtext of my discussions lately on my other show this week. I've been talking to a number of people who are just all from all different walks. I've talked to some former law enforcement people. I've talked to people that are running for political office, um, out of California, out of New Hampshire. I talked to former Trump and Clinton aide or advisor, I believe, Dick Morris, yesterday. And he thinks that, well, before I get to what he thinks, I'll finish the other thought. Um, Everybody seems to be looking for that, what you're talking about. Like, we all see, there does seem to be a sort of a rush of people sort of returning to the center of the merry-go-round where the gravity is not quite so intense. You've been on those things in the park that go around and around, and if you sit out near the edge of it or hang off, there's a lot of centrifugal force you experience, more G. Come back toward the center a little bit, you can catch your breath again. And it seems like a lot of people that are intaking media and politics are sort of doing that right now because the younger politicians I'm seeing that are making their vie for seats that I've talked to, at least lately, they've all just been looking for some common sense. None of them seem to be like hardcore acolytes for Biden or Trump or even the party they represent. They seem to just be like, hey, we don't have like our power's messed up, our fuel's messed up, our water's messed up, and we have a lot of crime. Can we just start there? So it is nice to see that. But I see what you mean also about the stoking of the fires because ever since this whole thing with the IRS came up, the left wing media, MSNBC, is saying that the conservatives are trying to start a civil war because they're upset about the government taking tax money from us to print more money, to take more tax money from us, to hire some tax collectors to come see if they can come take more taxes from us. People don't like that. Oh, well, they're calling for civil war. It's just ridiculous, man. The levels they're going to right now.
Yeah, and you know, when the media and the left start pushing for narratives like this, you know that they project what's in their head on the other side. So they are the one who's going for a civil war, and especially when it comes to like this whole country was founded like against taxation. We went through a lot of shit in this country fighting taxation. We fought wars for taxation. So this is one thing that a lot of people can unite on. But they are using it as a weapon. They are weaponizing it, and they're going after middle class. And also another part of this is honestly intimidation. They, as you say, there is a lot of people that are upset of the current political class, and a lot of Americans, they want to practice their right to actually run for office. And what they are doing right now is sending a strong message: do not even try to run for office if you're outside of that approved class, because we're going to come after you. That's also another message that they are trying to send.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, man. And it's becoming clearer and clearer to people just how much power and influence is behind this. For example, um, I had a gentleman named Mike Netter on yesterday, and he was one of the guys that set up and started the Gavin Newsom recall, like the collecting of the signatures to recall Gavin Newsom back in 2020 when, California was just under the thumb. Oh, wait, they're still under the thumb of dual emergency orders and all this stuff. Um, they had such a big grassroots campaign to remove him. It was the biggest one ever. And they collected over like 1 million signatures or something like that. And Gavin Newsom, that creepy nuisance, Gavin Newsom, he had to spend $92 million to fight the recall. He only spent $22 million on his campaign. So this guy was backed with Soros money, backed by Open Society to the tune of $22 million, gets into office, and the people hate him so bad that a guy with less than $100,000 and his friend were able to start a grassroots campaign to get this dude on the ballot to be voted out, to get recalled. And Gavin Newsom had to spend $92 million to fight that recall. Like, he was able to fight that recall, but I tell you what, he lost. I mean, if everything was counted properly, he would have been recalled. So he's stuck in there through by hook or crook and spending that much money. But that says a lot about what these people are up to if they're willing to foot the bill. If Soros and others are willing to foot the bill to keep that guy in office when the people clearly want him out, that says a lot. So, there are really good signs, even though things don't work out. Like, we would all love to see DA Gascon gone and Gavin Newsom gone, and some of these Senate and House seats replaced by people like Joe Collins and others, who are out there. But it's just crazy, man, to see, even though we're not getting those wins sometimes, like, people are starting to notice what's going on, and they're noticing it more than just, 10 minutes before they have to fill out their ballots and stuff.
They are, and we see it actually in even in the GOP primaries. Cheney lost, and a lot of those establishment people are losing. So I just hope people do not lose their engagement. And this is one thing I would say that Trump did in 2016. He brought in back people engagement in politics. Yes, there was a lot of division, but at the same time, he brought politics, or he put Washington back into the mind of people. People forgot about Washington for so long, right? It's just these people up there do whatever, right? And we don't care as long as it doesn't, we keep living our lives. But I think this is one advantage of what happened in 2016, and that's what scared this class, is that shift of people paying attention to politics, people waking up to really how our government operates, and people want to take back the government, and want to really govern themselves. This is, we the people want to govern, right? It is not just in one class. And I just hope we don't lose that sight, and we keep fighting for this. And then we see more new blood running into office, and this is the only way really that we can save that republic.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think people they started looking at Washington D.C. and they said, "Oh crap!" And then they started looking around their own towns and they said, "Oh crap! Look what they're
Yep.
doing to the kids here. Look what the teachers
Mhm.
are doing. Look what look what the water company's doing. Look at all this stuff starts you know happening, and then you get these grassroots movement, and they are out there, and some of them are doing really good. Ruckus, what about you, man? What do you think here? I've kind of been on a bit of a bender on my TNT show about putting some context to the way three-letter agencies behave. I had Odd Man Out on there today, and he and I were talking about Waco, Texas, and the way the FBI set that one all up, and same with Pat Jordan. Day before, we were talking a little bit about Ruby Ridge and the way that one was all set up. So it's like people are starting to. I think it's a good time to bring some of those stories back to light because of track record starts to show here with some of these agencies.
So yeah, I don't know. I think the three-letter agencies that we should be talking about instead, because I think a lot of this is distraction, are the CNN, ABC, NBC. Those are the three-letter agencies I like to be laser focused on these days, because they're doing some terrible stuff again lately, like they did through the pandemic. I don't know about this FBI Mar-a-Lago raid thing. We keep hearing many different stories about why they're doing it. It's been something that Joseph Arthur's been speaking about with me and his other guests on his show. And so I don't know what to think anymore. Not that I really knew what to think from the beginning, but I don't know anymore. There were some professional lawyers and guests that come on and do interviews, and they'll say, "Oh, here's why they did it and what they're looking for." And then 2 days later, someone else will come on another program on the same network and say a completely different reason for it. So there's a lot of that going on with this FBI Mar-a-Lago thing. So to me, that's a sign that it's a distraction for people to run around talking about it. I don't know what it's from. There should be a lot more people talking about or paying attention to another three-letter agency, the CDC, and their rollbacks recently. They should be talking about Fauci. People should be talking about how people are actually holding him accountable. People like Rand Paul are gonna he's gonna put together a committee, I guess, if they can take back power of the Senate and the House and all that, and they're gonna grill Fauci. But Rand Paul likes to do that anyway. Maybe they could double team, maybe him and Ted Cruz. Man, that'd be powerful. That'd be entertaining.
Yeah, really.
It'd be very much like another three-letter agency, which is what all of this reminds me of, and that would be WWF. So, yeah, I'm just since I'm not saying that I have to talk about it, but since I wind up talking a lot more about politics on TNT and on Joseph Arthur's show, I find it reminding me how personally I don't care for politics. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny because I don't have a dog in the fight. So to me, and I voiced my opinion about this just again recently, what I do see is that there are a lot of problems with the left that anyone with half a brain can see, and which kind of may have steered a lot of people towards the right, especially with the response with the pandemic stuff and the ruination of lives and states, and what you were just talking about, Hesher, where they're like, oh, my lefty mayor or my lefty governor did X, Y, and Z, so now it's time for a change, right? But now we see this interesting new narrative happening where, like, okay, so all these people who are like pro freedom and anti lockdown and anti vaxxers and anti maskers can pretty much all get behind Trump for the most part. I'm not saying all of us because I don't care. But there's some interesting stuff coming out now where they're trying to throw him under the bus and point out what some of us on this show have been saying all along, like, hey, I don't trust Trump because remember, he was the one that did the fast tracking, Operation Warp Speed, hello. And everyone seemed to ignore that until just recently, when all of a sudden that's big news now. So we have the CDC rolling back, Fauci like bowing out, moving on to the second chapter of his life or whatever. And now them openly talking about, hey, hold on a second. We blame Trump. Well, what do you mean blame him? I thought everything was great. I thought we beat the pandemic. I thought we got these boosters. We got 4 of them. They're awesome. What happened? The narrative has completely changed. And now people who trust Trump, some of them, already lost their Trump and trust over that. But the ones who are holding on are now like, hey, yeah, wait a minute. So I see them losing trust in their leader, right? Which means that either someone like DeSantis can come up and try to run on the right side. But I think what's going to happen is like the good old Hegelian dialectic. We got problems on the left, folks. We got problems on the right. I think it's time for a third-party candidate. And I think that they're setting up so much garbage and confusion and distrust across the board that that's exactly what they're planning on doing. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw a legit prediction that we might very well see for the first time in our history, I suppose, recently anyways. I don't know if a third-party candidate has ever been president, but that might happen. So we might see a third-party puppet behind the pulpit there. Yeah.
Third-party puppet in the pulpit. All right, say that 5 times fast. Well, I guess what I was going to say earlier, and that's all well taken, Ruckus. I think I actually read an article recently about a third party. It's so far back in my news Rolodex here, I can't really remember what it is, but I'll see if I can link it on the show page for tonight. I'll send it to you after the show. There's definitely some rumblings that might support your potential theory there, my friend. When Dick Morris was on, this is what he thinks. If I can properly summarize what he thinks that this whole raid thing is just the same crew that essentially did the Russia Gate and all this other stuff and J6, and this all leads back to J6 and what they're going to try to do. The plan here is that was a fishing expedition in his house to see if they could find anything to connect him to one of these J6 people allegedly, and then use the 14th Amendment to make it such that he can't run for president. It's just this like it would require the whole thing having to have been a setup from the beginning, which there is evidence of informants or provocateurs of some sort being there. And of course we had Ted Cruz grilling the FBI lady in the Senate hearings there, and her saying pleading the fifth on everything. So we know there was dirty business going on there. But what an elaborate freaking ruse to get to a strange ending. I don't know, man. It's all just a little too much.
I'm just curious, but don't they need to list in the warrant what they're searching for? I mean, they can't do this, right? I thought that this was a violation, but I don't know.
It's my understanding after watching some lawyers talk today in the mainstream news that if they indict him at that point, it becomes public record, but they can claim that, it can infringe or mess with the investigation if they release it, before an indictment. But yeah, ultimately, what we ultimately know is that eventually some form of it, whether redacted heavily or not, is going to have to be put out.
Yeah, a judge actually ruled today that it will be released, I think, on the 25th or so. But it will be a heavily redacted version, which will be useless.
Right. Because they're going to take out the names, because it's not a case without something current, right? They have to have current motive or evidence, and they have to have a name of someone who provided. So they have to say what they're going in looking for and why they think it's there, which means, there's an informant or something like that, or they have information. So that's what that lawyer was saying that I saw today, was basically, yeah, we may see it, but unless there's an indictment out, we're not going to see the why, the what, or the who.
Well, I'm no lawyer, but the way I understand that search warrants work, though, they could be anything on. I seen this guy talking about the bunch of federal agents raided his pad because they were looking for a piece of stolen scrap metal, and like 10 by 12-inch piece of, like literally like $10-20 piece of steel stolen, and of course they supposedly, if they found he says they planted it. They found meth in his safe, whatever. But the point, then they charge him with all kinds of other stuff that had nothing to do with what they raided his house for. So, and place of business.
Right. Well, I guess that's the danger here, if these are indeed fishing expeditions, and that's what pretty much everybody seems to think this one is. I don't know. I don't know. All right, let me run this WTF by you guys before we go to intermission here. Where'd it go? I have this great clip I want to show you. Here it is.
Bill.
All right, let me switch over to that and check this out.
Billboards have been popping up around California, urging citizens there not to move to Texas. These billboards go on to say the Texas miracle died in Uvalde. Here to talk about this is Katie Naranjo, the chair of the Travis County Democratic Party, and Matt Makoviak, chair of the Travis County Republican Party. Katie, what do you make of these signs going up?
I think it's a sad truth. The signs questionable, right? But the reality of what they're representing and the quality of life in Texas is what's offensive. And the government's response, particularly Abbott's response to the mass shootings, as well as the continued gun violence in Texas, is literally costing people their lives.
Okay, I gotta pause that right there. Can you believe that? That's a representative of right here in our state of Texas saying that, like, she's actually supporting this sign right here. This is amazing. Look at this. For those of you out there listening, it's a giant billboard with like a Unabomber looking person taking up 1/3 of it in a hoodie. Obviously a angry shooter type of person, I guess. That's the image. And it says the Texas miracle died in Uvalde. Don't move to Texas. That is staggering that people in California, I'm guessing this is Gavin Newsom money that put this thing up. California billboards reading "Don't move to Texas." Wow. And then one of our own, not a representative, but someone from the Democratic Party here in Texas comes on and says, "Yeah, that messaging is on point." Can you believe that, Ruckus? That's just crazy.
This is actually really sick and disgusting, and I hope the families of the victims in Uvalde have something to say about it. So that might be interesting to see if any ruckus comes from that. This is just absolutely absurd. Another level of the clown world that we're in, but this is taking it to like a really dark. This is dark. This is not cool.
Right? I thought maybe I was just overreacting when I saw this one, but yeah.
Trolling is one thing, but they're talking about an incident that on its face is a pretty horrible, disgusting tragedy. And to use that in this political slapback on a billboard, I don't know. It's just another symptom of yet again of a sick society.
Yeah. Yeah. Chopper, what do you think about that one, man? I mean, I'm only 45 seconds into a 5-minute report on this thing, but it's like I can hardly make it past that lady from Texas saying, "Yeah, that messaging's on point." Like, oh, what?
Yeah, this is insane. I was looking at that. You guys are right. It's dark and twisted and insanity clown world, and yeah. And why are you so worried if somebody wants to move to Texas? You're willing to put up these crazy like billboards like this? Like, I don't know. That actually, I'm still blown away by this.
What is this whole interstate fighting thing? It's like states have become brand labels or something like that. Governors have become WWF wrestlers of some sort. They're at each other's throats on Twitter. We've got this whole pantomime happening between Governor Abbott and New York City and Washington D.C., where we're get you guys. We're gonna put a bunch of illegal migrants on buses and send them up your way, and it's just like, why
Maybe
wouldn't
that's
why wouldn't you just deport them if you know you want to buck what the Biden administration's doing or Homeland Security, whoever's responsible for this whole
this
thing?
is
Like,
true. Maybe they can't deport them though because they're not federal. Maybe the Fed to deport people. I don't know. Once again, I'm not a legal expert, but yeah, dude. Maybe these governors are like modern feudal chieftains, and so they're all pissy. Like, I don't want my minions running over to somebody else's area. Or yeah,
I think it's just I think you're onto something there, but I think it's a little nerdier in the sense that it is gladiatorial between like DeSantis and Newsom, but it's their two PR people working with like Fox and MSNBC's PR agencies, and they're coming up with like these schemes to like, oh well, he can say this about them, and their people are gonna move over here, and it just seems like very pantomime to me. This whole like idea of like one state versus another, and the governors are playing into it, and they're saying we don't like your
Well,
policy, we're gonna send people over there, we're gonna.
all these governors want to be president. That's a lot of their ultimate goals, especially I would say these high up guys, the bigger, more well known ones in the bigger states and such. And look at what they're doing in Britain with the prime minister. Like, they're having basically a reality TV show to select the next one. And so they're just playing into that modern game of how we do politics now on Twitter and the interwebs, social media, obviously the mainstream media on television and whatnot too. But yeah, honestly, to take something like Uvalde and make that into some kind of weird political billboard about don't move to Texas, and it's like threatening too. Like, they X'd out the little "Don't mess with Texas" logo on the corner, and then like you said, you got this ominous looking dude right here. Yeah, this is yeah, they spent a lot of money graphic designing that, I bet too.
Oh yeah, probably taxpayer money. What do you think, Infidel? California telling people not to move to Texas because the miracle died in Uvalde. That's pretty. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's irresponsible because what's happening right now, it's the way I'm seeing it, it's almost they are setting up the shape of the battle. They want to divide the nation into blue states versus red states, and they are trying to just break up the union. And I heard that from so many people. This ideas of breaking the union, right? And all this crap of doing nothing but just fueling this separation and this madness of blue states versus red states. Given that, I mean, even Newsom, his like, sorry, not Newsom, Abbott. Abbott, if you look at actually his policies, is not that great of actually conservative
No.
governor, or even like an actually America First governor that actually independent from being a Democrat or Republican. There is some on either side, but he loves to play slogans. But if you look at his policies, actually, it's the same mainstream crap. So yes, it's playing into PRs, but it's a dangerous narrative that is just fueling that division and that into people's head, solidifying that red versus blue, and creating that separation.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, just look at the border situation. I'm sorry, I keep having to look at the border situation because it's like if he really wanted to make a point, sending more illegal aliens to New York and Washington D.C., that doesn't do anything. All that does is assist in the plan to have an open border and
Mhm.
to charge the people of America via tax dollars and jobs and crime and all this stuff to send them all over the country. That's what we're doing. We're busing them. We're flying them. We've been seeing it for a long time. It's you know, so for it to be some grand gesture that, oh well, we took some of these people we can't deport and we're sending them to New York. Look at us go. It's like they were going there anyway. Abbott, you're just playing right along.
Exactly. It's just a useless PR stunt that just means nothing.
Hmm.
I mean, I think we're smarter than that, or at least some people are smarter than just falling to this crap.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna play more of that news piece for you guys, but it's really not worth it. I'll stick it on the show page if I get to it, and you can check it out yourselves, folks. It's out of Fox, and they have a Republican representative from Texas on there also. But the whole thing is just very very strange. I don't know what to think about it. They've got a representative from Travis County Republican Party on there, and then that other lady that you heard from there. But I don't know. The whole thing was just I found very strange, and this just I don't know. It's very WWFy. That seems to be a bit of a theme here, Ruckus, tonight. But the whole like Texas versus California, Texas versus Florida, Texas versus Washington D.C. It just seems silly to me.
No more United States of America, I suppose, huh?
Not if we're gonna remember when we used to have commercials for other states, like you'd watch cable TV and you'd be living in, I don't know, maybe when you were living in New Hampshire, you used to see commercials that would be like California, it'd be like come to California. Like we used to see those for like Utah,
Mhm.
Arizona, New Mexico. Like they used to get commercials to go to other states to do commerce or do entertainment or take your vacation there. And now it's just like stay out of that state. That one's failed.
Not only that, it says stay here. It says don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Don't move. Where are you going, buddy?
You can't leave California. Just amazing. Just amazing, guys. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's anyone got anything else before we take a break? We're gonna take a break over here, everybody. We gotta get Ruckus off to another podcast pretty soon. And let's see. Chopper, you got anything else? We'll go around the room real quick. Anything you want to throw out there before we take a break here?
Nah, I'm good, dude.
All right, man. All right. Cheers. Horns up. Thanks for being here. Infidel Ferret, what about you? Anything you want to throw out there before we head off to a break?
No, let's go to a break.
All right. All right. And Ruckus, what about you, man? You ready to walk out? You ready to do this?
Yeah, but I'll probably not be joining you for the second half.
All right. Saved
Unfortunately.
rounds. Final
So,
thoughts. Over to you, man.
everyone, of course, as you've caught on by now, check us out on TNT. Hesher's got a show Monday through Friday, and I'm a guest co-host for the last half of a show called Joseph Arthur and his Technicolor Dreamcast. So that's where I'll be after this, you gentlemen, and Spore lady, wherever she went. Enjoy the second half and all of the audience members. So I'll go ahead and give my parting words as I often do now. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God save this republic. Ruckus out.
All right. There he goes. It's Ruckus, everybody. And with that, we're going to take a quick break over here at Alternate Current Radio. Come back at you in a little bit. Do some more boiler room action. I hope maybe everybody's tired and needs to get out of here. You never know what's going to happen. But yes. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Keep an eye out for part 2. And we'll be back shortly here. This is Alternate Current Radio. We're going to peace out for now.